Greetings, my fellow philosophical thinkers. Thank you for tuning to the LL3 podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful land of enchantment, and today's date is Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. Man, time is flying. Yeah, so, I'm not going to go too crazy on the whole COVID thing, 19. Like I said, you always got to observe responsibly. It's been pretty quiet today. I just did a couple of things at the show last night, which was like an hour. But that's okay. But it's like information I try to put out, which the mainstream media don't want you to know. So, without all that further ado, I want to do something pertaining to former Barack Obama insider, Rahm Emanuel. This is from American Free Press. Mayors are running the world. This is by Mark Anderson. It came out today on AmericanFreePress.net. As it reads here, on February 28th, former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel addressed the nonprofit organization Chicago Ideas to pump his new book, The Nation City, Why Mayors Are Now Running the World. Thus, the Nation City has suddenly become part of the collective global cities vernacular. Sounds like the whole Strong Cities network, right? Take note that Emanuel is not futurizing. He's stumping to make the case that the nation state is an anchorism against which mayors joined by some state governors should rebel in order to usurp and devolve national power to the local level. One-worlders themselves call it glocalism. Yeah, I like that. G-localism, okay? 3 or 4 years ago, at Globalist Forum, the annual Pritzker Forum on global cities in Chicago, for instance, there were several suggestive statements about localities during an eventual end run around the nation state, but the most statements were confined to mayors wanting to seat at the table in order to be more serious consulted about immigration policy, international trade, foreign policy, and diplomacy. Could we say unconstitutional indeed? The next step came in February 2018 when Ivo Dalder, president of the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, which puts on the annual Forum of Global Cities each June, traveled to London Chatham House think tank, which is the same money line as the infamous Council on Foreign Relations. The program that Dalder extended explored the revealing question: should cities have their own foreign policy? Talking about conflicting Article 1 section. Nah, not about that. I don't know about that. That's more like conflicting with Article 2 of our U.S. Constitution on foreign policy. The same month, then, Mayor Emanuel, who served 2 terms before his 2019 retirement, helped unveil his Resilient Chicago Plan, an offshoot of the North American Climate Summit in Chicago held in December of 2017. That summit, the first of its kind, held by Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy, an EU-created entity presided over by former New York Mayor and former presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg. Yep, New World Order 101 indeed. Produced over Chicago's climate charter, the pact comports within the ongoing global cities movement. In early 2018, Emanuel signed an executive order committing unwitting Chicagoans to the goal of the 2015 Paris Agreement, not only as pushback against President Trump for removing the U.S. from the pact in 2017, but also to accentuate the point that under the global cities rubric, the nation state itself could be bypassed. Yes, look at that, huh? Very interesting. So he's gonna try to do things his way. Emmanuelism, of course. In other words, participating mayors need pay no heed to the Constitution's Article 1, Section 10. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. And no state shall, without consent of Congress, enter into any agreement or compact with another U.S. state or with foreign power. Interesting there. That's why Strong Cities Network does conflict with this as well. During a Chicago Idea interview conducted by Ariel Investments CEO Melody Hudson, Emanuel did not mention that municipalities are creatures of their respective states and therefore would automatically collide with Article 1, Section 10 under any foreign city diplomacy scheme. Yeah, even the Logan Act too, right? That's possible, folks. You say the future of society is with mayors and cities, Miss Hobson noted. Yes, Emanuel replied, adding, a third of my book is about the center of gravity of our politics moving out of Washington, out of Brussels, out of London to local. In his view, national governments are rife with distance, dysfunction, and disinterest. From the vantage point of the locals, he said, those gaps should be filled with intimate, immediate, and impactful policies of cities. Local governments are leading charge on climate change. Local governments are leading the charge on immigration, he continued. See, the guy's a globalist douchebag, okay? A New World Order heave, okay? And I say that ethically. The guy's a total clown. One of the most corrupt men. And it says here, Emanuel, who also served as a White House staffer in the Clinton and Obama administrations and as a U.S. congressman. Good grief. Who the hell voted for that? I'm going to keep on going there. Ascending to chief of staff for Obama, added that while the first third of his book is about political science, the subject of urban politics is a major focus of the rest. Emanuel spoke proudly of his Jewish upbringing in Chicago, actually a Gino, a Jew name only, while outlining several ideas for proper city governance, improving K-12 schools, better libraries, better mass transit, entertainment events, and other aspects of city life. He feels these things provide shared experiences which function as the glue that prevents diversity from tearing societies apart, because no one can agree in a multicultural society on the basic tenets of workable governance. But while stressing that diversity becomes a liability if you don't agree on something, and noting that 147 languages are spoken in Chicago's public schools, he took a sharp left turn by saying, I really think what this country needs right now is national service. Instead of, for starters, English should be the official language to help simplify communications and promote unity in schools. Moreover, national agency services such as AmeriCorps are premised on people serving the government and not the other way around. Emanuel, multiple ideas do not require a total restructuring of the local, state, federal relationship to be implemented. Idea some of my find appealing can be a wedge into a more illicit endgame. Emanuel does not recognize America's dominant Christian and European roots that until recently produced social concord. Those of Emanuel's secularist ilk have for decades instead screamed for separation of church and state, but since the multiculturalism Emanuel supports is not the same thing as assimilation, where moving to America means you can become American to the fullest sense, his chief friend becomes social engineering in the form of national service, instead of liberty under the law, where men are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. Therein lies the delicate deception. Yes, so it sounds like more here. The man is pro-involuntary servitude. Look, he's a tyrant. It's like I said, and never ever been really impressed by this man and his arrogant rhetoric. Go figure. He's just another stooge. Other people claim he's an Israeli asset, or has dual citizenship. It's just a claim. I'm not gonna, say he did. If I had the actual facts, I will let you folks know. But this is very disturbing indeed. Very New World Order 101 indeed. As far as I'm concerned, guys like him should be impeached, because he was congressman before. So he has that merit of conflicting with the Logan Act. So that's considered a crime. Violates the Constitution. But that's just how I look at it. We should all don't be like Chicago, please. Awesome people I met there. Won't knock them, but this here, another globalist asset. All right, next one here. I just it was a short and sweet. The Phoenix, FloridaPhoenix.com. Florida loses a federal appeals court ruling on the state's felon voting law. It is by Lloyd Dunkelberger. And as it says here, a federal appellate court on Tuesday rejected Governor Ron DeSantis' request to have the court reconsider a ruling that found that Florida felons who have served their time but can't pay outstanding financial obligations must be allowed to vote. And it's interesting because if you actually I read the ballot itself, the actual ballot in detail, and I did vote for 4. It didn't have that language in there, so hey, that should have been in there in the first place, but it didn't. DeSantis has asked the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta to hold an en banc or full court review on February 19th, ruling by a 3-judge panel on the court that upheld U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle. Hinkle said Florida cannot prevent felons from voting if they are generally unable to pay their legal obligations related to their case, such as court costs and fines. The case as a challenge of a 2019 law passed by the Florida legislature said that felons who have completed their prison time must still pay their fines and fees before they can register to vote. Desmond Medee, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, praised the court's decision on Tuesday. Another positive outcome for voting rights in Florida, Meade tweeted. Meade led the 2018 Citizens Initiative known as Amendment 4 that was endorsed by Florida voters and sought to restore voting rights to more than 1 million former felons. Tuesday's ruling involved a preliminary injunction that Hinkle imposed last fall after 17 individuals challenged the 2019 law. A broader challenge of the law will be focused on a non-trial jury set for April 27th in Hinkle's courtroom in Tallahassee. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting challenge there. But the fact is, based on the Florida Constitution, the amendment, only people who couldn't vote would be murderers and violent criminals, molesters. So, hey, I voted for it in good faith because you got folks out there that make those mistakes. It doesn't mean you got to condemn them completely. Certain circumstances. However, they've done their time. They should have the right to vote. Nothing else. So, and I don't know why Tallahassee's trying to change it. You got to look at the Florida Constitution first. I'm going to put these laws on top of it. That's conflicting. That's contradicting. Hey, all you got to do is folks got to read. So, hey, one for the good guys. So, like I said, DeSantis and the people in the Florida legislature got to look at the Florida constitutional amendment that got passed. No exceptions. So, I'm going to continue on here. This one here will be last. And it's about, the shutdown. And there's from the editors of Mises.org. It says here, end the shutdown. And it reads here, the shutdown of the American economy by government decree should end. The last and far-reaching harms caused by this authoritarian president far outweigh those caused by the COVID-19 virus. The American people, individuals, families, businesses must decide for themselves how and when to reopen society and return to their daily lives. Neither the Trump administration nor Congress has the legal authority to shut down American life absent at least baseline due process. As Judge Andrew Napolitano recently wrote, businesses, closures, restrictions on assembly and movement, and quarantines are not constitutionally permissible under some magic emergency doctrine. At a minimum, but the federal government must show a prominent imminent harm by specific infected individuals at some form of hearing or trial. These due process requirements are not suspended. State and local officials may claim or even possess a lawful police powers to shut down their communities. We offer no analysis of such powers or claim under the myriad of state constitutions and authorizing legislation. But they should resist exercising these powers. The governor of Virginia in particular deserves an admonition, for unilaterally imposing a lengthy period of virtual house arrest. That's right. Governor Klansman himself, the bigot, the tyrannical stooge that he is. We do not know and cannot yet know how many Americans will become sick or die from the virus. We don't know that predictions regarding infection and death rates are highly unreliable. Even actual attributable to COVID-19 are not so easy to count, as Italy has discovered. Age, general health, and comorbidity are difficult variables to assess, and people may die with the virus but not from it. It is also very difficult to assess the lethality of the virus relative to previous known types of flus and colds. To date, COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. are far fewer than deaths in ordinary flu seasons from the past pandemic, such as the H1N1 virus. Understanding is critically important to put the virus and the government response to it in perspective. Even during past pandemics, depressions, and world wars, Americans went to work. In 1850, French economist Frederick Bastiat helped the world understand the unseen and unseen costs of state policies. It is simple to see how quarantines and lockdowns will slow spread the COVID-19. It's critical, but not so simple, to see the cost of harm caused by the economic shutdown. Only then can we rationally understand the trade-offs involved. How many Americans suffering from other illnesses cannot see a doctor now? How many Americans will lose their jobs, their life savings, their retirement perspectives, and their incalculable feeling of self-worth? How many will succumb to depression, drug or alcohol abuse, and suicide? How many will lose their homes, divorce their spouses, or suffer abuse? How many will never recover in their careers? How many small businesses, including the vital ones of doctors, dentists, and veterinarians, will vanish from your community? How many young people will fail to launch? Worse still, the grocery store, the gas station remain open and stocked. Will crime spike? Will the American social fabric, already thin from politics, tear apart? These questions are not rhetorical. All of these things happened to a degree following the Great Recession of 2008. They will happen again very soon if we fail to act immediately. Tomorrow, April 1st, millions of Americans will not pay rent or mortgages. Millions of small businesses will shutter, just as many large employers such as Macy's, Kohl's, airlines, and hotels already have. Millions of service workers are unemployed already, but many more jobs will be lost. The effect will cascade. There is no conflict between humanitarian and economic concerns. In fact, they are flip sides of the same coin. A poor America will be a much less healthy America, one more vulnerable to future illness and disease. Technology, modern medicine, and market doctors can address a virus. Already, we see entrepreneurs producing cheaper ventilators and doctors using cheaper generic drugs with very promising results. This local bottom-up approach is the only effective way to confront the virus. The federal government, as we see now and have in the past, is comically incapable of competence in the times of crisis. On a fundamental level, freedom really is more important than security, or in this case, an illusion of security. We all demonstrate this in our personal lives every day. From flying to driving to riding bicycles to consuming unhealthy food and drink simply because we like it. Security has never been so, or even primary goal for a country born in rebellion. The government cannot decide what aspects of our lives are essential or non-essential. The American people cannot simply sit at home and wait for government checks written on funds that government does not have. End the shutdown. And they're right, because right now, people filing for unemployment, they haven't been collected. They haven't got their first check in, okay? And it's not just in Florida. It's even in New Mexico. A lot of states, it's totally swamped. And they're only going to believe it's going to only have like maybe 1-2% of this so-called stimulus package, which is nothing more than a corporate deception. Please, folks, if you believe in still shutting down the state, you're just a bootlicking tyrannical sympathizer. I don't give a damn who you are. That's meek and unmeritable. You don't tell people how to think or how to wipe their rear ends because you even can't take care of yourselves. Yes, and I do support personal responsibility, individual decisions, self-governance. I always say about this, regardless of illnesses or viruses, you be vigilant on your health. Even employers let their employees know the same thing. You gotta give them those facts. But mainstream garbage media wants to put us in fear. How accurate is information out there? Okay, yeah, people can get infected by it. I'm not going to disagree. I just say it was a bioweapon a long time ago. But respectfully, we gotta use common sense, back to basics, and we need self-governance. Freedom of choice is what we got, and what government says this here is no good. This is a state of emergency. It's null and void. Whether it's in your constitution, regardless if it's federal, state constitutions. Okay. Bottom line, all you gotta do is read the Bill of Rights on a federal and state level, which also known as Declaration of Rights. So you know what? Done deal. End the shutdown. Let people go back to business, and the folks make those decisions. All in good faith. And you know what? That is it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout social media networks if you have any questions, comments, and something interesting you want to check out. Whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. In addition, I shall leave the footnotes of these articles on my Spreaker page. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.